Welcome to session 3 of your life group. I hope you're having a good time today. And make sure as you discuss amongst yourself that you come up and you nail down just your outreach plans, as that will be upon you before you know it. But let's talk from Nehemiah chapter 2, verses 11 through 20 real quick. It's about Nehemiah showing up in Jerusalem for the very first time. He has his burden and his plan, and now he is finally there and he gets to see it for himself with his own eyes. And there's something about seeing something for the first time with your own eyes, whether it's your child, whether it's your bride, woo, she's beautiful, or whether it's a damage from a destructive storm. Being able to see it with your own eyes brings a whole new dimension. And that is what Nehemiah is experiencing in this portion of Scripture. But before he went under the cover of night to assess the situation, he rested for 3 days. You would rest too if you traveled 900 miles on some form of horseback or a chariot or whatever. But Nehemiah rests, and we know that he did this, and we know that he took time. Scripture tells us that he did. He needed to rest and refill and refocus and re-energize, because you get tired, and when you get tired, you lose your motivation. Jesus was a great example for you and I of breaking away and resting, being refilled, and then entering back into ministry. And every one of us needs to practice that discipline of rest. And it's challenging. There's a million things that we can do. But after taking 3 days of rest, Nehemiah studied the city before beginning the task of rebuilding. You see that happening in verses 12 through 16. He's wise. Before casting the vision to the people that are there, he steps into the brokenness and the ruin of the city himself. He feels the burden, and these verses tell us that the route he took through the city, as he analyzed it, as he looked upon the burned gates and the broken down walls, the fact that he was there in the city was a confirmation that God was with him. So confidence is bursting within him, I'm sure. And the same can be true for you and for me, that God is with us. And finally, we saw that he was the spark to ignite the task. In verses 17 through 18, he tells them and he speaks to them, and he speaks to them in the language of us and we can do this thing. And the people respond to him, let's do it. Nehemiah paints a picture with his words, and he declares what could be done. Let me ask you, what picture do you need to paint with your words? Your words have power, and your today has a tomorrow, and God has a plan. And so I just want to encourage you with that. May your faith ignite a confidence and a courage to press through and to lean fully into the Lord. May your life group give you support and encouragement as you express where you're at and maybe things that you need to share. So let's take a couple minutes real quick and just break down first things first from Nehemiah chapter 3 verse 1. It's about the priest who rebuilt the sheep gate, and then we saw a little bit later in his life some stuff unfolded. So first things first, the sheep gate was significant. It may not seem important to us, but for the Jew it was huge. For that is where the sacrificial lamb would enter in and be sacrificed for their sins at the temple. It is the first gate that Nehemiah mentions in the rebuilding process. For us, it signifies the importance of keeping first things first priorities in our relationship with the Lord. Living with a Christ first priority beckons us to make sure we are ordering our private world. You may be a stuffer, or maybe you're an expresser, but whichever one you are, eventually that stuff is going to come out and your private world will be seen. So we have to take care of it. The broken walls of Jerusalem were just the outward results of bad choices and misplaced hearts and selfish priorities that the Jewish people had lived up to that point. The things haven't changed too much, though, have they? I mean, that's the heart of humanity. But I love what the great devotional writer Oswald Chambers said. He said in his classic Utmost for His Highest, the battle is lost or won in the secret place of the will before God. Never first in the external world. Nothing has any power over the person who has fought out the battle before God and won there. Our private world is so important. Make decisions that are going to produce life in you and life through you. be a life producer. That is what God is all about. That's what his kingdom is all about. And the high priest mentioned in Nehemiah chapter 3, verse 1, of somewhere down the line, some things got rearranged in his life, and he made some decisions that didn't allow God to be first. This past 2 weeks, we've had an incredible example before us as the passing of Billy Graham and his life communicated to us of an individual who ordered his private world, and what was in private was seen in public, and what was seen in public was how he was in private. He was consistent through and through, and there is great freedom in that. And my prayer for all of us is that we would be free, and we would find freedom in living with a life, in a private life that is well ordered, so that our public life can be demonstrated before people and Christ can be seen through us. So hey, have a great discussion time. God bless you, and we will see you soon.